Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. A deep rumbling sound filled the air. From it emerged a shadowy version of herself, a dark doppelganger that seemed to reflect all her fears and doubts. Adanna lived in a peaceful village of Orji. The people of Orji were kind and hardworking, tending to their farms and animals, and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. Adanna was no different. She loved her family dearly, especially her father, who had raised her with love and care after her mother passed away when she was just a little girl. One day, Adanna's father fell gravely ill. His strength drained from him, and the village healer, Mama Uche, tried everything she knew. But nothing seemed to work. Adanna was desperate. She couldn't imagine life without her father, the only family she had left. As she sat by his side, holding his hands, tears streamed down her face. "Papa," she whispered, "I will find a way to make you better. I promise." That night, as the moon rose high in the sky, Adanna couldn't sleep. She stepped outside her small hut, hoping the cool night air would clear her mind. As she wandered through the village, she noticed something strange. In the distance, there was a faint glow coming from the direction of the marketplace. But this was no ordinary light. It seemed to shimmer and pulse like the heartbeat of a living thing. Curious, Adanna walked through the marketplace. The village was silent, everyone asleep. But as she got closer, she heard a soft murmur of voices. When she reached the marketplace, she stopped in her tracks. Before her was a sight she had never seen before, a market that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. The stalls were filled with strange and wonderful things, glowing stones, shimmering fabrics, and bottles filled with liquid that sparkled like the stars. The vendors were people Adanna had never seen in Orji, their faces hidden in the shadows. The whole place felt unreal, like a dream. Adanna walked through the market, her heart pounding. She felt both drawn to and afraid of this place. An old woman with a face full of wrinkles and eyes that seemed like polished stones called out to her. "Child, you look troubled," the old woman said in a voice that was soft. "What brings you to the night market?" "The night market?" Adanna echoed, confused. "I have never heard of this place." "That is because it only appears to those in great need," the old woman replied. "Tell me, what troubles you?" Adanna hesitated, but there was something about the old woman that made her feel like she could trust her. "My father is very sick," she said. "Nothing the healer does is working. I don't know how to help him." The old woman nodded slowly, as if she understood. "Perhaps I have something that can help," she said, reaching under her stall and bringing out a small wooden box. She opened it, revealing a tiny bottle filled with a glowing liquid. "This is the elixir of life," the old woman explained. "Just a few drops will restore your father's health." Adanna's eyes widened with hope. "How much does it cost?" The old woman looked at Adanna with a serious expression. "This is no ordinary market, child. The things here are not bought with money. Everything has a price, but it is not always what you expect. If you wish to take the elixir, you must promise to return something of equal value." Adanna's mind raced. She didn't have anything of great value, but the thought of losing her father was too much to bear. "I'll do it," she said, her voice firm. "I'll return something of equal value." The old woman smiled, a knowing look in her eyes. "Very well," she said, handing the bottle to Adanna. "But remember, once you take something from the night market, you must always return what is owed." Adanna nodded and quickly made her way back home, clutching the bottle tightly. She did not stop to think about the old woman's warning. All she cared about was saving her father. When she reached her hut, she knelt beside her father and carefully poured a few drops of the glowing liquid into his mouth. She watched anxiously as the liquid seemed to sink into his skin. After a few moments, his breathing became steadier and the color returned to his cheeks. "Papa," she whispered, her heart racing with hope. Her father slowly opened his eyes and smiled weakly at her. "Adanna," he murmured, his voice stronger than it had been in days. "What happened?" "I feel better." Adanna smiled, tears of joy streaming down her face. "You're going to be okay, Papa. I found something to help you." For the next few days, her father's health improved rapidly. He was soon back on his feet, laughing and talking as he used to. The whole village was amazed by his miraculous recovery, but Adanna didn't tell anyone about the night market or the elixir. It was her secret. But as the days passed, strange things began to happen. Adanna felt hearing whispers in the wind, soft at first, but growing louder with each passing day. The whispers seemed to follow her everywhere she went, echoing in her mind even when she was alone. "Return what you have taken," the voices would say. "The debt must be paid." At first, Adanna tried to ignore the whispers, convincing herself that it was just her imagination, but the voices grew louder, more insistent, more demanding. The peace she had felt after saving her father began to crumble, replaced by a growing sense of dread. One night, as she laid in bed, the whispers became so loud that she couldn't bear it anymore. She bolted upright, her heart pounding in her chest. "What do you want from me?" she cried out, her voice trembling with fear. There was no answer, only the sounds of the wind rustling through the trees outside. But deep down, Adanna knew that the voices wouldn't stop until she fulfilled her promise. She had taken the elixir to save her father, but now she had to pay the price. The next day, Adanna returned to the marketplace, hoping to find the old woman. But when she arrived, the night market was gone. The stalls were empty, the strange vendors nowhere to be seen. How was she supposed to return what she had taken if the market was no longer there? The days passed, and the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Adanna could barely sleep. Her nights filled with nightmares of dark figures and shadowy hands reaching out to take her away. She couldn't escape the feeling that something terrible was about to happen. One evening, as she sat outside her hut, trying to calm her racing thoughts, she noticed a figure standing at the edge of the village. The figure was tall and thin, dressed in dark robes that seemed to blend with the shadows. Adanna's heart skipped a beat as she recognized the old woman from the night market. The old woman beckoned to her, and Adanna felt an overwhelming compulsion to follow. She rose to her feet, her legs trembling, as she walked towards the old woman. As she approached, the old woman's eyes gleamed in the fading light. "You have taken something from the night market," the old woman said in a voice that was both familiar and frightening. "Now you must return what is owed." Adanna's voice trembled as she replied, "But the market is gone. How can I return what I took?" The old woman's expression was unreadable. "The market is never gone. It is always there, just beyond the veil of this world. You must find the way." Adanna felt a wave of despair wash over her. How was she supposed to find something that was hidden from sight? "What do I do?" Adanna pleaded, her voice breaking with fear. "How do I find the market again?" The old woman reached into her robes and pulled out a small carved stone. She handed it to Adanna. "This will guide you," she said. "But be warned, the path is dangerous and the market will not be as you remember it." Adanna took the stone, its surface cold and smooth in her hands. She looked up to thank the woman, but she was gone, vanished into the night like a wisp of smoke. Adanna stood there for a long moment, staring at the spot where the old woman had been. The stone in her hand seemed to pulse with a faint energy, and she knew that this was the key to finding the market again. That night, Adanna couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, clutching the stone and wondering what dangers laid ahead. She knew she had to go back to the market, but the thought of what she might find there filled her with dread. As dawn broke, Adanna made up her mind. She couldn't live like this, constantly haunted by whispers and fears of what might happen. She had to find the market and return what she had taken, no matter the cost. The next day, Adanna set out on her journey. She left the village of Orji behind, walking through the dense forest that surrounded her home. The stone in her hand seemed to guide her, pulling her in a direction that she couldn't explain. Hours passed, and the forest grew darker, the trees taller and more twisted. Adanna felt a growing sense of unease, as if the very air around her was watching her every move. As the sun began to set, Adanna finally arrived at the night market. The once magical stalls were now shrouded in darkness, their wearers looking menacing and unrecognizable. Strange shadowy figures moved between the stalls, their eyes glowing like embers in the gloom. Adanna clutched the glowing stone tightly, feeling it warm against the cold, damp air. At the heart of the market stood a towering figure cloaked in shadows, a guardian of sorts, with eyes that glowed like golden metal. He stepped forward, his presence commanding, large, and intimidating. He spoke in a voice that echoed throughout the market. "Welcome back, seeker. You have come to fulfill your promise." Adanna's heart pounded as she approached him. "I have come to return the elixir," she said, her voice trembling. "Please, let me know what I owe." The guardian's gaze was unyielding. "The elixir was a powerful gift, and it saved your father," he said. "But such gifts come with a cost. You must choose. Sacrifice something dear to you, or face a greater consequence." Adanna felt a whiff of panic. She thought of her father, now healthy and smiling, and the fear of losing him again was unbearable. "What can I give?" she asked desperately. The guardian extended a hand, revealing a small, intricate carved box. "Inside this box is a choice," he said. "Open it, and you will see what must be given." With trembling hands, Adanna opened the box. Inside was a shimmering silver thread and a golden heart-shaped locket. The locket bore the image of her mother, and Adanna felt a surge of grief and love. "I can't part with this," she whispered, clutching the locket to her chest. The guardian's heart softened with understanding. "The locket represents your love and your past," he said. "But to keep what you cherish most, you must make a sacrifice." Adanna struggled with decision. She knew that the cost would be high, but she couldn't bear the thought of losing her father or the memories of her mother. In her desperation, she asked, "Is there no other way?" The guardian's expression was unreadable. "There is always a way, but not always an easy one." Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. A deep rumbling sound filled the air. From it emerged a shadowy version of herself, a dark doppelganger that seemed to reflect all her fears and doubts. The doppelganger's eyes glowed with an unsettling light, reflecting Adanna's deepest insecurities. "You are not strong enough," it taunted. "You cannot save your father and keep your memories. You must choose." Adanna clenched her fist, feeling the weight of her decision pressing down on her. Adanna took a deep breath and remembered her father's smile, the warmth of her mother's embrace, and the hope that had driven her throughout this journey. "You are wrong," Adanna said, her voice steady despite the trembling of her hands. "I will not let fear control me. I will fight you to the death." The doppelganger launched at her, and Adanna barely managed to dodge its attack. She realized that the battle was not just a physical one, but a mental and emotional struggle as well. She had to overcome her own doubts and fears, not just defeat a shadowy figure. In a fierce struggle, Adana fought back with all her might. She focused on the love she had for her father and the sweet memories of her mother, using those memories as a shield against the darkness. The doppelganger's attacks were relentless, but Adana's resolve was unshakable. Just as Adana felt she might falter, she remembered the glowing stone she had been given. She held it high, and its light cut through the darkness like a beacon. The doppelganger recoiled from the light, its form wavering and losing its strength. Adana seized the moment and pressed forward with the stone lifted high. Burnt and disfigured, the shadowy figure disintegrated into a swirl of dark mist. As the doppelganger vanished, the shadows began to fade and the night market's eerie glow softened. Adana collapsed on her knees, exhausted but victorious. The market seemed to hold its breath, and the guardian's imposing figure reappeared. "You have faced your fears and proved your worth," the guardian said, his voice now carrying a note of respect. "You have shown that love and courage can overcome even the darkest of shadows." The guardian extended his hand once more. "You may keep what you cherish most, but remember the journey you have undergone. The night market is now a part of you, a reminder of your strength within." Adana took a deep breath and accepted the guardian's words as the night market slowly faded away. Adana made her way back through the forest, the path now clear and illuminated by the lights of dawn.